English teacher Sherry here. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will talk about the sort and say slide. I know. Yes, the sort and say slide. What do we do when we come across this slide? So the sort and say slide is one of the slides that we encounter in the level 2 lessons with our littlest students. I love the young students. I love the littlest ones, right? My littles is what I like to call them. I've been working almost all of my career with children under the age of 5, and I really do enjoy that. I find it really rewarding, and I know for some people it's not your cup of tea. So on the sort and say slide, the students are going to have items come up a belt that moves very slowly. And these items are then supposed to be put in the correct categories. And they use a drag and drop feature. So this is an interactive slide for our students. Now, what I find is that our students often struggle with the ability to use their fine motor skills to drag and drop the item. So even though the items are moving very slowly up the belt, they are still struggling sometimes to accurately move the item across the teaching board into the correct area. So it is helpful if the parents do intervene for these students when they're having difficulty. I also feel that sometimes our students see it and they want to hurry up and they just want to do it really, really quickly. And guess what? We don't get any student output when this is happening, either because A, their fine motor skills are not the greatest yet, and they really have to concentrate and focus on pulling that item across the board. Or B, they just see it and they just want to get it done quickly and they are not thinking about, oh, teacher Sherry's saying, what do you see? They're not listening to that because they are just intent on dragging the items to the correct categories. So I asked ZebraEnglish what their input was on this. So I wanted to know, what is more important, that the student label the item or that they put it in the correct category? So in having this discussion, I learned that, guess what? It's student output. So ZebraEnglish, the number one thing we're always working towards is student output. We're wanting our students to speak in sentences, right? Okay, so nothing's new here. They'd still want us to really try to elicit that student output on this slide. So I've talked with several other teachers in a teacher talk that we had today. And we've also had some discussions on the different Facebook pages about this particular slide. And I'm going to share with you some tips that we learned at our teacher talk today, and also some tips that other teachers have shared on the Facebook pages over the last several weeks. So one of the things that was stated by teacher Laura was that she draws things in the boxes to help the students understand what the particular categories are. So we have food and clothing. Now, my categories are pretty simple. Some of the categories that we run across might be a little bit more complex. But what she has stated is that she will actually draw things on these boxes that will signify or signal a food item and a clothing item so that the student can then know which category to send things to. In our teacher talk, we also learned from, I believe, teacher Brenda and a couple of other teachers mentioned that they actually will use 2D items to go into these categories. So, for example, my trusty apple, they would hold that up next to the food category, and my son's stinky old shoe could be held up next to the clothing category. That way the students understand which category is which. Okay, so the next task is to get them to actually label the items. And this can be tricky as well because once they drag them over to the specific categories, the icons all kind of overlap. And so you can't really see all of them. You can't see all 3. You can only see the top 1. So this does create a little bit of difficulty. So your best bet is to get them to label them as they are dragging them over, or at the very least, remind them what they are once they're there, which means you guys are going to have to remember, right? Which sometimes is hard. So another idea that was brought up is that we can encourage our students to make sure that they label these items as they drag them over, because guess what? They will get zebra coins if they say the word as they drag it over. If they just put it in the correct category, no zebra coins. So, great tips on how you can maybe help your student navigate through the sort and say slide. What ideas do you guys have? Share them down below, hit subscribe, and happy teaching, and be kind to one another. Goodbye.